Welcome back to Stories from the River. This is your host, Charlie Malouf, and I am here with Kota Bennett for part 2 of our conversation. If you haven't listened to part 1, go back and do that now. You'll hear about how Kota got his name from Dakota to Kota when he joined the river, and all of his success for the last 4 years when he joined Broad River. And we really walked through kind of the 1, 2, 3, 21, 2020 COVID, all the way through, present day. So now I kind of want to know a little bit more about you and kind of what makes you tick. How does that sound?
Sounds good, Charlie.
Let's do it.
Welcome to Stories from the River, a show in which we go behind the scenes at Broad River Retail.
We believe that purpose begins with identity. You've heard us say that phrase before. And recently, the Ogden store underwent a name change. Those things happen sometimes and when it's appropriate. And so for its identity within Broad River, it changed from the Ogden Alliance, which is what it started with when we acquired the store back in late 21, 22, to Port City. Were you a part of that decision?
So Rick Rush actually came to me and a couple of the other people and were like, we wanted to make something a little bit more significant with a name that represented the city, Wilmington, right? And Port City has to do with a lot, with actual Wilmington. So we talked about it, but that's all Rick Rush. Rush definitely took that to go.
I love it. I love Port City. That's a great name. How important is it for a retail store to have its own unique identity? And how have you guys really leaned into this to build culture within your store and with your team?
It's so important. You can kind of compare it to Yankees, Red Sox. They both have their heritage and they both have, different things that represent each individual. And Port City, now we got our name identity and we're ready to rock with it. And we're going to set ourselves apart from, the different stores that surround us and that are in Broad River and really make a name for ourselves.
It's going to help you be set apart or stand out just like your shoes do, right?
Exactly. We're going to represent our city and do everyone proud.
That's awesome. So let's shift gears and talk about some memorable company events. I believe you've attended the last 2 annual award galas that we've held at Bank of America Stadium. How were those experiences like for you?
Life-changing.
Really? Wow.
They give you a different perspective that a job's not just a job, It's not the 9-to-5 job. You go in, you leave, and, you do the same thing over and over with. There's different things like the gala really opens your eyes on the fact that companies doing all this for you. We're going down to, we went down to the Panther Stadium the last 2 years, and you meet all these great people, and you get to pick their brains too. I get to pick them about VIP. I get to pick them about sleep, and just hearing different stories and being able to connect with them on a personal level too has made a difference, not only in my business aspect, but also in my personal aspect.
Yeah, and you get to be celebrated.
Absolutely.
See your name in lights, right?
Yeah.
You pick up your awards. And so I know you've attended, because last time we talked about how you were an expert, fast track, you lost it, you got it back. So you've only been able to attend our first home furnishings expert soiree at Oak Steakhouse. You missed the one last year at Steak 48, but how was the first one you attended?
Oh, it was amazing. It kind of goes along with the gala, just kind of like a smaller atmosphere, go to say, but it was still a memorable experience because you're meeting all these reps too, and the first time I went, I believe TD was hosting it, TD Bank, which is one of our lenders, and they were fabulous. They were out there and we're talking to everybody. So a little bit of a different platform, but still very similar experiences that just make you humble and make you very grateful for it.
Yeah, it's a unique event because we bring all of our partners in to participate. And so TD was the premier sponsor that year. Yep. And we have invited guests like from corporate. And I think you met a special someone a couple years ago too, right?
Yeah, no one too big, Todd Wanick, but
Well, it was awesome that we had him there. And so last year, though, the one that you missed at Steak 48, did someone in your store go to it and come back and tell you what you missed?
Oh, yeah. Again, someone not big in name, but Dane Thompson. Yep. He's one of our experts and proud to have him on our team over at the Coast. He filled me in on what I missed. That's why I was like, I better get expert back so I can go back next year. That way you can Throw that at me.
So we're weeks away, and this one's going to be bigger and better than last year. Again, at Stake 48. So I'm excited to celebrate with you here in a few weeks here in August.
Absolutely.
Awesome. What about other company events like Sleep Summits, Elevate Summits, $1 Million Memory Maker RX events, trips to Ashley and Advance or the Tempur-Pedic facilities? Tell us about some of those.
There have been so many that we have had that you guys have hosted over the years that I've been with Broad River the last 4 years. And you guys set the bar and you keep on breaking the bar and keep on, making it better. I can tell you there's been so much growth and more excitement and going to these things, especially driving 3 hours, that can take a lot out of you. But our last one with the Purpose Summit and all of it, it really makes you look back and be like, these are the tools I need to succeed. Mm-hmm. And you guys are doing it for us, not to, you're there to challenge us.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. We do care about, we have a whole department that we've talked about on this podcast for the Memory Maker experience. And that's part of investing back into our people. And and we do have to raise the bar. Once you set the standard of what the expectations are, you got to, how do you top it, right? And make it better. And so I appreciate that. And, it's also a great time to connect with people who you might see just on Teams meetings or Saturday morning sales manager calls. And so speaking of connect, that's our word of the year this year. We introduced it about 6 months ago or so. And last year's word of the year was elevate. Prior to that, we had thrive in 2022, and then 2 words in 2021, forward together. How important have annual themes been in contributing to our culture as well as rallying everyone around a common idea for the year?
I would say, the first year, that was the sink or swim year, you had to stay strong. Mm-hmm. And so, moving forward, that meant a lot to me. And the words that we have that you guys bring to us every year have been so important. And I try to wrap it around what I need to do for the year as well. One of my biggest things is you never give up. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if one door shuts, another one's going to open. So my word of the year is persevere.
Yeah, that's a great word.
And it's important to me.
Yeah.
Because it can be related to a lot.
It's a great word in general, and especially at retail, especially when you're going through ups and downs at retail, to persevere. Life is not a sprint. At times there are sprints, but it's the marathon. It's the journey, right?
Absolutely.
So Broad River has been recognized by Furniture Today as one of the best places to work in the industry for the past 3 years. Why is that?
It goes back to you guys setting the bar and separating yourself from other retailers. You set up these processes and you also make sure that everyone within the company is not only taken care of, but feels appreciated as well. Mm-hmm. I would say that's the major vocal point. And that's how you get the longevity out of employees. Mm-hmm. And this is the longest job I've been with, and I'm proud of that and I'm happy with it. And I want it to extend further because you guys do take great care of us.
Yeah. You're a big contributor to the culture too. So we appreciate that. What is your favorite thing about our culture here at the River? And in your opinion, what is it that makes our culture special?
That you can always count on someone. I can always rely on, reaching out to somebody and gathering the information I may need or simply talking to somebody. Mm-hmm. And that is something that can't be compared. There's all kinds of companies where you may never see the actual owner of it. Mm-hmm. or whatever. So it's a privilege to be able to, talk to higher ups, talk to Stacy, mm-hmm. talk to you, Charlie, Manny, mm-hmm. All of them as well. So that would be the biggest thing I'd say is, management as a whole steps up and steps aside compared to other places. And that's where I think you guys really set yourself apart. And plus all the bonuses and stuff you guys give.
Yeah. And it feels like we're knitted together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What is one thing about Broad River that you think would surprise others from the outside looking in? Is there a misperception or something?
I would say that the biggest thing that people would probably be surprised about is how you wouldn't view this as a job. obviously you have to make money, right? But it's more of a family.
Yeah.
It really is. And that's crazy to think because of how big Broad River has grown. We have, what, 34 stores now?
We're in the 30s.
We're in the 30s
we're 34,
now.
I think 33 is about to open next month. 2 months, yeah.
And I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I've been here 4 years, and every year we're gaining more. We're gaining more people. We gain the coast and all this, and like nothing's changed within the inner. Like we're just growing as a family, and that's just different.
So Kota, what is something about you that would surprise your fellow memory makers?
Something that would probably surprise people is that I'm actually a really shy person.
Are you really? Yeah, that would surprise me.
Yeah. Everyone thinks I'm crazy and that I'm not telling the truth on it, but I'm a very shy person. That's one of the reasons why I got the shoes. It speaks for me and it brings out my personality once the ice is broken and everything. So I have lessened my shyness over the years, especially since I've been with Broad River. But
you wouldn't think of a shy person as being like going into a career in sales and being very successful at it.
Yeah, and I would probably contribute a lot of it in the fact that when I was growing up, I was literally, I grew up in a furniture store. It was my daycare. So a lot of it comes from the knowledge that was given to me, that I've processed and that I've continued. And that's what I would contribute a lot of it to. And I mean, once I'm open, and you can't shut me up. So,
well, that's good for this what we're doing right now. Then the C4 process. Let's take a minute and talk about the C4 sales process. What is it?
So with our C4 process, you start off with the connect and the customize. And then you have the commit and you're continuing. So, breaking it down, it just creates a better experience, not only fluently for the HFC, but also for the guest, because it kind of slows it down. And then, when you're starting from the connect, you're building that relationship. And then when you're, making it more of a customizational experience for that guest, that speaks volumes as well. You're not just walking into a store like, Big Lots and being like, oh, here's my card, paying it, and then you're done. We continue it. Yeah. And that's what's important. That's how we get lifelong guests.
That's right. Well, you're not jumping straight into the commit. You're like, well, let's talk, and then let's solve your needs and let's discover what your needs are. Let's get to know each other. And because then you can offer the best advice based off what our products and services that we have are.
Exactly.
Well, how important has it been to your success in your opinion?
It's been vital. Yeah. I mean, we break the ice to begin with. We make it more of a personal experience. We don't just walk in and say, how can I help you? We try to break the ice with the guest and make it more comforting for them in here because furniture's a big, purchase.
So, Kota, was there a moment in time when it all began to really click for you and you saw your sales take off in conjunction with that aha moment?
I would say it was at the end of 2020. When I hopped into 2021 and, I had Karen, and Leah kind of, they motivated me because they're top salespeople as well. But then I also saw how fast I was, climbing the mountain, with becoming an HFC. That's where it really clicked for me. And I just took it and ran with it. And, I've tried not to slow down and, keep up the momentum.
Well, it's awesome that you've been able to grow your sales in a time like 2021 was a kind of a demand crazy year. Everyone had stimulus money and was stuck at home. And that really started to taper off in 22 and tapered off a little bit in 23, but you've run upstream against that and counter against that trend because you focused on like behaviors and self-improvement and getting better and doing better with each guest that you see. So it's really a testament to you of how you've grown sales and grown your income in spite of like the layups going away more so than we maybe had in 2020 and 21.
Yeah, that's the great thing. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. It doesn't matter if you've been here 4 years or 2 weeks. There's always something to build upon, and you're never done learning. Yeah, you can never not be perfect. Like you got to do what you have to do.
I think being curious and being like having the spirit of a lifelong learner is so critical to success. We heard a leader used to run IBM at World Business Forum, Jenny Rometty. She said she looks for Olympic learners. And I just love that connection, because you think about an Olympian, they have to train and practice, and applying that to learning, I think is, and so what you're saying is there's always something to learn to get better at. Just don't whimsically do it, be intentional about it.
Absolutely.
So, we like to constantly tweak and seek to improve. And we've done so many things over the years, going back to like mobilizing our sales force with tablets, or adding the waterfall, and then more, adding new providers, adding CXM more recently, with, you talked about C4, but also the sleep sales process, introducing Mr. Mo, tracking behaviors, draw the room. So how do you keep up with all of the new wrinkles in innovation?
Focus on one and kind of digest them as they go, and it just becomes more natural. And that's the best way I can do it. I'm a visual person anyway, so like I visually look at one and one and one and add them up, and and then it's this big old success because you're combining everything and the process just becomes one.
So is it challenging to keep up with all of the new processes along with the product knowledge and the sales goals and keeping in touch with the guests?
It can be a lot, but once you get comfortable with it, it just flows. And I mean, that's where you're going to see the improvements in your sales. And that's my biggest thing from 2023 and finishing to be an expert again. I was a lot of apps, VIP apps away from getting my expert back. And the very last day, I got it. And that's because I stayed with the process and I took what I learned from my leaders and capitalized on it. So it's a process and it's a lot, but it pays off.
Yeah, that's great. So mindset, I know that retail has its many ups and downs. That's one of the reasons we try to keep it exciting and fresh and fun, because it's got ups and downs, highs and lows. How do you keep yourself upbeat, motivated, and positive on a daily basis, especially after you may have experienced or had a negative situation or something that occurs like that?
You have to take a step back. You take a step back and you just got to look at everything, slow down, and, and never be afraid to talk to somebody. That would be my biggest thing. There's plenty of people I talk to at my store. If I'm not having a good day, or, the guest that came in, wasn't the friendliest, you just have to step aside and, relax, breathe. And that's what I do.
So when you say you try to talk to someone, you're not going to talk to someone to like complain. You're going to talk to them for what? Like to say, did I do something wrong? Or, hey, I'm in a rut. Can you, what do you see? Or what are you going to like approach them with?
How can I better myself for the next thing? And that's what I tell my HFCs too, is, if you can come to me and everything, you just got to make sure, put in the 110%, and then you can't be upset with yourself. If you're putting in that 110%, then you do not have yourself to blame if you are doing the whole process.
Yeah, got it. Okay. So what are some of your, I want to go into like routines and habits and secrets to success. What are some of your best daily habits or routines, and how do they help you excel in your role?
As a sales manager, especially for, VIP, what I try to do is, make sure I keep up to date with our lenders. I created a VIP slideshow for Broad River that, anyone can put on their tab. They can go on it, and it's got all the information for Qualify, Synchrony, TD, Fortiva, Progressive, all of them. And so I just focus as a sales manager to make sure I'm keeping up to date with everything that's going on with all those lenders. As an associate, I try to pick brains of people. I pick brains of Brian Fuller. I pick the brains of Dane Thompson, and, all of these different people. That way it leads to success for myself.
That's great. Are you a goal-oriented person?
I am.
Okay. And so do goals help you stay motivated throughout the year?
They do. I mean, they set the standard that you're trying to succeed. And, you can never set a goal too high, and I strongly believe in that, just solely in the fact that, hey, I'm setting this goal. You have to be realistic, but you control what you do with it.
Okay. So what do you do that others don't or aren't willing to do that has led to your consistent success?
It would just be keeping that positive mindset,
Yeah.
and it's not necessarily saying that no one else does it. It's just you have to have that mindset. Otherwise, it can consume you.
Well, I think it's such a poignant point because what often I see is when people don't have success, it's when they let the story they tell themselves derail them or take them off the tracks. And so we control our perspective. And so let's talk about your mindset and how you think about setting up your day, about overcoming objections, dealing with service issues, customer complaints, rejections. How do you talk to us about mindset there?
That goes back to the growth of being a leader as well. When I started with the Ogden store and everything, one of my biggest things was being overwhelmed and having to slow down and deal with things, and you have to set different things apart, and that's what I've done and kind of slowed down the processes with all of that, but at the same token taking them bit by bit and just taking the emotion out of it.
Yeah, that's really, really wise counsel there. Jackpot bonuses. Let's talk about those for a second. How important have our annual jackpot bonuses been in keeping you or others motivated to pursue and achieve big annual goals?
Yeah, I mean, how does it not keep you motivated, I mean, it's huge goals, and the great thing about it is it's not only from a dollar amount standpoint, it also makes you feel really good, being able to say that I accomplished 200 VIP apps in 1 year, or, hitting 1.5 in 1 year. I mean, those are great numbers,
not easy to achieve.
They're not, but they make you very appreciative, and it makes you as a sales associate, HFC, very appreciative of the company that you work for.
That's cool. Okay, I want to talk about life's best. So our purpose is furnishing life's best memories. What has been one of your best memories thus far at the river?
One of the best memories I ever had would probably when I was in Cary, and I was working at the store, and I had a guest come in, and they were looking for some furniture, and they told me they did not have established credit or anything like that, but their house just burned down, and which, I mean, I can't even fathom. And so I was talking to them and everything, and they wanted to look around first and everything, and then we finally, I told them about VIP and everything, and I got them signed up and everything, and they got approved Synchrony Bank for 10 grand. And I think we asked for an increase, and they ended up spending like 13 or 14,000 to fill their house. And it was just impactful. And that's where you have to go back and be like, it could always be worse, and you have to be thankful for what you have.
That's a great story. Would you say that's your favorite customer story or memorable customer story?
It definitely is one of the top ones. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So since you've been a memory maker here at the river, what is something that you've learned about yourself or about what you've been able to accomplish that has surprised even you?
Something that surprised me is just the fact that I've overcome a lot, in the fact of, we went through COVID. I ended up doing a lot better than what, could have not been. And so just persevering is, it's my word of the year.
I love it.
So just persevering through everything. That's the biggest thing that I can say.
Well, and I would say you haven't just persevered, you've persevered and thrived through each of these different seasons and stages, which is one of the reasons you're here, because you've done it with a smile on your face and positive and stylish shoes and everything else. And so you definitely stood out both for your culture and your connection with your guests and your growth and your learning. So Kota, is there anyone in your life who has had a significant impact on you who you'd like to mention or give a shout out to?
Definitely my grandpa.
Yeah.
Without him, none of this would have been possible. Me working furniture, or, having the capability. He helped me move down here as well. A lot of people may not know, but when I was young, 14 years old, I had brain cancer.
Oh, wow.
And he was there every day, would come up to the Cleveland Clinic and, make sure I was doing okay, and would always bring me food and all that stuff. So without him, I mean, none of this is possible. And it's a domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first person I called after Ray Templeton hired me, and told him, I was like, well, I guess furniture's in our blood.
Yeah.
And he laughed and he's like, you're going to do great. And he continues telling me that. And that's been the most impactful thing throughout the years.
That's awesome. I mean, you're okay now. Did you have surgery? How they get rid of the brain cancer?
Yeah, 14 and a half years cancer free now. They removed everything. I went through treatments, and I became a childhood cancer spokesman for 10 years, and met some great people and everything. And it makes you very appreciative and grateful for life and what it's provided you.
Thank God. Were you scared going through it? Like, did you always feel confident like you were going to get through it?
It's the mindset thing, Charlie. And I mean, it can be brought upon with, everything that we've talked about today. It's all about mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I told myself, I didn't feel bad for myself. I sat myself down and said, hey, Dakota, you can either let cancer overcome you and it'll literally eat you alive, or you can stomp it in the ground and stay positive. And that's what I did. And it's literally the best thing I could have done, because I'm succeeding.
That right there gives us so much insight into, like, you overcame that at 14 years old, and you did that through mindset and the doctor's help and the support and the family support all around you, of course, everything. But it's your mindset that also contributed in what you're still using today. And I think there's a big lesson there. So speaking of big lessons, what advice would you give any new hire starting on the sales floor today?
One piece of information I would give someone who's just starting is, stay mentally tough. Don't feel like you're stuck in a corner, because there's so many outlets that are there for you to help you out, and you're going to be set up for success.
I would give them that same advice as well. I'd also tell them to focus on VIP as the greatest unlock. So persevere, have perspective, and focus on VIP.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's say you could go back to your original day one, just 4 years ago when you were 25 years old. What would you tell your younger self about what life is going to be like at the river?
Buckle up, kiddo.
Kota, I get that a lot as an answer to that question. Okay, if you could change one thing about the company today with the wave of a magic wand, what would it be?
I don't know if there is anything, Charlie. I feel like you guys have, really set me up for success, especially in the last 4 years I've been here. I think you guys are doing a great job, and I mean, I see it pay off with myself and with others too.
Well, there's always something we can do better at. So if you think of something, I'm a phone call or a text or an email away.
Absolutely.
But I appreciate those kind words. Okay, well, let me put it this way. Let's say that I decided to retire and I gave you the keys to the company. You're the new president and CEO of Broad River Retail, and today is your first day in the new role. What would be your first order of business?
Get more stores.
Get more stores.
Get more stores spread across the United States.
We'll work on that. How about that? Okay, learning. How do you sharpen your saw? What do you do to improve your skill set, Kota?
Practice.
Okay.
Practice,
Is that when you're not with a guest, you practice, or with another?
I try to, especially with other HFCs, and make sure that, again, they're up to date with, all of our lenders, know the information, try to practice, try to do the comfort test as well. It's not always, available to do all those interactions, and then also try to keep up with product knowledge. We got a lot of great products that just got released too. And so always trying to keep up.
That's a great point, because you don't want to be doing that practicing with a live guest. You'd rather do that and sharpen your saw so that you're on point when you're with the guest and can answer their questions and think on your feet and be, and do a great product demonstration or a great comfort test and whatnot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you read books or listen to podcasts? And if so, what are you currently reading, or what's in your regular feed?
I actually listen to a lot of, like in the morning, especially on Saturdays, because weekends are really busy for us. I try to listen to inspirational, podcasts and everything. Nothing exact. I usually listen to random ones, but just about being inspired and, if today, what are you going to do today differently than what you did yesterday, different things like that.
Okay, so when you stop working for the day and have some time for yourself, what do you like to do for fun or relax other than working on your house chores, your new house?
Well, see, I don't even view them as chores, Charlie.
Okay.
I mean, they're fun. Crazy, but like
House projects, DIY
yeah,
projects.
Yep, they're projects, and I mean, I just landscaped and everything, and I find that fun. But other than that, I've actually expanded finally, and I got friends I go and I hang out with, and we go to the beach. I mean, the beach is right down the street.
There you go. That's a good thing to do. Okay. I think this is my last question for you, Kota. To someone who is not a memory maker and is thinking of coming to the river and joining the company, what advice would you offer to that person?
The advice I would give to that person would be it's going to be life-changing.
Awesome. Kota, is there anything else you'd like to share?
I just thank you, Charlie, for having me on your podcast and letting me share my story and everything. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Fantastic. Hey, before I let you off the hot seat, I just got a few things I want to I asked some folks about you, and I'd love to read those if I can right now.
Okay.
So some of your fellow memory makers. So we talked about this gentleman, Dane Thompson, who's been a guest on the podcast. And here's what he said. Kota shows such a passion for VIP. He truly believes it is the engine of our company, and the results definitely show. He is a great coworker and friend and pushes everyone around him to be the best they can be every day. He will tell you he is at home with Broad River, and Kota is definitely living his A+ life. That's great. From Chris McEwen, your fellow sales manager, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Ogden at the Port City. Over the last 2 years working with Kota, I have seen his growth as a manager and as a friend. Kota's unique style of shoes that he wears at work has set him apart from the rest of the sales staff. Even if a guest comes into the store and may not remember Kota's name, they always remember the guy with the wild shoes. Since moving to the Wilmington area, we have seen his growth in his personal life as well. He has recently purchased his first house in the town of Bolivia, North Carolina. Kota was a big part in changing the news and changing the culture of the store during the transition from HEW to Broad River. From Mary Lewis, your REM. Kota is a hard worker and fully committed to Broad River retail. Over the past year, he has grown as a leader and is excited about where life is taking him. Just a few more here. From Heather Greenwood. It has been an honor of mine to know Kota and watch his continued growth and success with Broad River. Kota has an infectious energy, attitude, and joy that radiates from within. From the moment we met, I knew he was something special. Kota has a determination that you can see when you look into his eyes. He is focused, dialed in, and always present with his guests and his peers. As I have watched him grow, I have noticed this determination to get bigger and bigger. He continues to elevate, to learn, to strive, and to always be willing to become better. Kota is a true student and one who wants to learn everything he can to provide the best experience possible to his guest. I look forward to continuing to watch him grow and shine. He has a bright future ahead. I couldn't agree more with that. Okay, just two more here. From Manny. Kota is such a pro. I love his passion for this business, which is truly exemplified by his connection and relationship with his customers. He is an expert, and I'm grateful to have him on our team and family. And last but certainly not least, from your GM, Rick Rush. I would say that Kota has shown a lot of growth in his personal and professional life. So you're hearing some of the same sentiments. He has shown a lot of perseverance in his life, from beating childhood cancer, as well as being a speaker to give other kids hope as they go through their fight. Since joining the river 4 years ago, Kota moved to Wilmington and took on a leadership role for the first time. He has had a thirst for knowledge to grow his career as well as help mold the memory makers at the coast. I've enjoyed seeing his growth since being at the coast, from being a new leader to seeing him buy his first house and living his A+ life. I'm really proud of the growth Kota has shown in his career and has a very bright future here at the river. I have a lot of sentiments. That's what your fellow coworkers and leaders said about you, Kota. It's an absolute joy to have you in the company, and I love your just infectious, positive attitude and what you do to help us grow and thrive. And we'll keep growing as long as we have more Kota Bennetts in this company. So thanks for all that you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much, Charlie.
Awesome. Hey, that's the Kota Bennett story here from Stories from the River. Thanks for joining us. We try to bring you fresh new content every Tuesday and Thursday from many of our heroes within the company and tell their stories like Kota Bennett. So do us a favor, leave us a review, mash that like button, or leave us a comment if you can. Let us know how we can expand, grow the pod, or what you'd like to hear. And thanks so much for joining us, whether you're on Apple or Spotify or YouTube or wherever you get your fresh new content. Thanks so much. Signing off here at Stories from the River.
Thanks for listening to Stories from the River. To check out more episodes, visit storiesfromtheriver.com. Join us again next week, and remember to like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast.